Hey guys, hopefully you are all doing well. Prime Collections here. Well, as with every positive, there must be a negative. And with that being said, yesterday we did the top 10 best Funko Pops of 2022. And today we're going to be doing the top 10 worst Funko Pops of 2022. These are going to be ones that I saw this year that I immediately turned my nose at. I wondered why these were made. And some of them in general I had a hard time finding for this list. I would say that at least the back half was definitely tough to put on this list because I don't usually hate a lot of stuff that Funko puts out, but I would be lying if there wasn't at least a few entries on here that definitely deserve to be here. So let's not hesitate. Let's not wait any longer. Let's get into the top 10 worst Funko Pops of 2022 this year. Starting at number 10 here, we're going to be looking at not necessarily a singular pop, but a group of pops. And the ones in particular I am talking about are the Batman from the first two series of DC Funko NFTs. The reason I put this on this list this year is that we had two DC series of NFTs, and in that entire span, we had a total of 5 Batman redeemable pops. We had 2 in the first drop, and we had 2 in the second drop, and then we also had a royalty in the first drop. So for a total of 5. And I don't have a problem because each one of these are different Batman. I have a problem with the fact that you could have chosen from a ton of different characters, and it just feels like these were lazily chosen. I feel like Batman is overused. I feel like specifically that they did so many Batman pops. Heck, you might even see another one on this list. But the fact is that I think that they could have chosen different characters, and as such is why I put the DC X Funko NFT series, Batman specifically, on this list at number 10. At number 9 here, we have actually a little bit of a surprise for some people, I think, and that's going to be the first series of Hanna-Barbera Funko NFT redeemables. I think the fact that they had different characters was great. My biggest gripe with this is that each one of them has the exact same accessory, which is an astronaut helmet minus the royalty and minus George Jetson. However, if you look at George Jetson here, his head looks like he's wearing a helmet because of the shape of it. In general, I think they could have done these characters without having to have the astronaut helmet on them. Like, it doesn't fit Huckleberry Hound. It maybe fits Astro, but in general, I don't see how you would want to put it on those characters. The one redeeming quality of getting these NFTs was the royalty. It was an amazing Friday this year. However, the 4 regular redeemables are definitely something lackluster. I don't think they needed the astronaut helmets, and I think if they didn't have them, these would have been much more sought after and much more appreciated. And for that, that's why I'm putting them at number 9 on my list. At number 8 here, I'm going to have to put the entirety of the box of Fright from this year. My biggest gripe with these isn't necessarily the pops themselves, it's how they handle the distribution of the pops. If you look at it, these 2 boxes, one was a Nosferatu box and one was a Hannibal Lecter box. Now, both of these were extremely cool. However, nobody knew when they bought these that the pops in them were going to be the exact same for the box you ordered. So if you ordered the Hannibal Lecter box, the 2 pops were going to be in it were going to be the same as the other ones that someone else got in a Hannibal Lecter box. On the flip side, if you got the Nosferatu box, it was the same thing. And also they were limited to 10,000 pieces. These were more expensive than the boxes of fun, and in general, they were less desired. And I think that they kind of did it as a cash grab, and it felt like almost a middle finger to us as fans. So I have to put the entire box of Fright, specifically the pops, on here, because I think that the way that they were done, the way this was handled was really crappy, and I feel like the fans in general were generally really mad about this. So that's why it gets this spot on our list here at number 8. At number 7 on my list, I am going to put the Wingsuit Batman from the Robert Pattinson Batman movie. When I looked at this one initially, when it dropped, the first thing I thought is, why is Batman flashing the camera? Like, I understand it may be a moment from the movie, but the pop just looks like it's Batman opening his jacket. It looks like he's trying to show off the goods or trying to sell us something. And I don't like that at all. I think the pose is undue. And the fact that it's a Funko Shop exclusive and the fact that you can still buy this today says a lot about this pop. And that's why I have to put this Batman with the wingsuit at number 7 here, because it just is terrible looking and I'm not a fan of it. At number 6 here, this is kind of a group of pops. I'm going to be putting lackluster chases here. Unfortunately, this year, when it comes to chase Funko Pops, they usually have a little bit more detail, they have a little bit more done to them. And Funko this year specifically seems that they just don't care anymore. I referenced 3 specific pops for my notes here. First of all, look at the Guillaume chase. The only thing difference is the tears on the pop. There's no glow in the dark. There's nothing. And that to me is just a blatant, just writing this small detail. And it's not fair to the fans, nor is it fair to people who are seeking and buying 6 of these to get this chase. Next up, you have the Killer Bee chase from this year. Once again, the one change to this pop is he's holding his book of rhymes. And that being said, that is cool because it's from the show, but when the pop itself looks exactly like the regular, just with that difference, it doesn't feel like a Chase Funko Pop. And lastly, I referenced the Samurai Brook piece. The Samurai Brook prop in general is an amazingly detailed piece. However, when you look at it side by side next to Chase, and the only thing difference of note is the gray metallic sheen on the top of his hat and a couple other places, that once again is not a worthy pop of Chase. I think that all of these were made with blatant cash grabs in mind, and I feel like these were done with almost minimal effort. I want Funko to actually start putting out chases that people really want to desire. And these are just, hey, I don't have this, so I want it in my collection. And it kind of sucks to see that they've done this route. Hopefully next year we get some really cool ones. But these are definitely some of many that they've done this year. And I would like to see them do better on the chases. And that's why lackluster chases come in at number 6 on this list. At number 5, this is another group of pops. And it's not really technically their fault. It's more of the movie that they're from's fault. But that is the Matrix Resurrection pops. If you look at most stores, you will find Neo, you will find Morpheus, and you will find Trinity on sale for clearance prices. If you go to any GameStop, I guarantee you will find tons of Neos. I went to my local GameStop and there were at least 17 different Neo pops from this specific movie. All the same pop, on the shelf with a clearance tag on them. And I think that that's due to the movie not being that great. Unfortunately, when that happens, the pop doesn't do too well. And because it's on the shelves, I have to put it in that top 5 category because it sat there for so dang long. When I first started collecting, at the beginning of this year, this pop was on the shelf, or towards the middle of the first couple months of this year, and they are still sitting on the shelf now. So that's why I have to put these at that number 5 spot. My number 4 spot, we have another singular pop here, and that is the Metallic Con Nezuko from Demon Slayer. Now, I love Nezuko as a character. I think it's really great, but they have put this exact mold of her in a regular common. They have put her in a 4-pack. They have put her in a 2-pack. And they are now have metallicized her, and I'm pretty sure that this mold is the same one they used for Nezuko in a box, but I could be wrong. But in general, that is the same mold being used in 4 different pieces, and when you do that, it really loses the luster of what is this actual mold. For me, this just feels like a cash grab for an LA Comic-Con piece, and I think they could have done better, and I don't like that when they do that, where they just repaint it and just say, here you go, and for that is why this comes in at the number 4 spot. At number 3, and this is another group of pops, and specifically it's these pops, and that is the Chase variants for the die-cast metal pops that are available on Funko's website. Not only is every single die-cast metal pop available to purchase today, but the ones with chases that were supposedly supposed to be big-time sellers are also available. And the reason why is that the chases are just metallic silver variants of the pop themselves. There's no change of the mold. There's nothing special about them. There's just a color change. And when you are paying $50 for a chance at a chase and you get 6 of these paying $300, it doesn't feel like you've got something of value when the pop that you're getting is the exact same chase variant as the one previous of it. They did it with Thor, they did it with Black Panther, and they did it with Darth Vader. And if they keep doing that for the die-cast metal pieces, this set or this fandom isn't going to last too long because people aren't going to want to get the same repeated looking chase variant. It doesn't look great. I prefer the colored versions of these where they've got like they've got the actual colors and stuff. And that's why for me, I prefer those over these. And so for that being said, that's why I got to put the metallic chase variants of the die-cast metal pieces here at that number 3 spot. Now at the number 2 spot, this may surprise a lot of people because this is a beloved character from this franchise. But we've got Grogu, and I'm looking at every single Grogu piece that they have put out this year specifically. There's 8 different versions of this pop, or 8 different versions of this character, and each one has some small little detail change from it, whether he's holding something different, whether he's doing an action different, but in general, it's the same pop every single time, just with a different little bit added to it. And I understand the fandom around Grogu, and I understand it being extremely popular and very cute, but I don't think it dictates 8 different versions of it, because all they're trying to do is try to make as much money as possible of it. And a lot of these you could still buy at most retailers. And unfortunately, because there's no variation, there's nothing specific or special about him, that's why I got to put him at the number 2 spot. If there was maybe a couple pieces, I wouldn't have a gripe. But the fact is you can go find 8 different Grogu pops today at most stores, and that to me is a bit of an overkill. And so that's why I got to put Grogu at number 2 on the top 10 worst Funko Pops of this year. And then at number 1, this was probably the easiest one to pick this time. Number 1 was the first one I put on this list. When I saw these, I legit was disgusted. And when I saw them in person, they were even worse. They're my least favorite Funko Pops of this year. And that is the Star Wars Snowman Pops. Each one of these looks terrible. There's nothing distinguished about them. They tried to glitter them up so that they look like snow is reflecting. It looks crappy. The fact is that each one of these did not sell out. You can find these at most stores. They've been out for multiple months, and unfortunately, because they're winter based, not a lot of people want them, and they also look like they were just copy and pasted together in seconds. Let's not also overlook the fact that the one that they said was going to be the most popular, the Yoda, the one that most people may have actually wanted, looks like A, he's wearing a bathrobe, which I talked about before, and B, is a Funko Shop exclusive that is still available on the website today after it being out for almost 3 months. Like, these are terrible. I don't know who came up with these ideas, but unfortunately, I'm not a fan of winter-based pops. And these are specifically ones that definitely fit that genre. I think they're crappy. I think they could have done a lot better job with these. And unfortunately, that is why these Star Wars Snowmen sit at the top of the worst of Funko Pops of 2022. But yeah, guys, that's going to do it for me today. That's my list. What did you guys think? Did you guys like it? Did you guys dislike it? Let me know down in the comments below. What was on your list of top 10 worst Funko Pops of this year? I would also like to hear about that. Thank you so much for sticking around through the entirety of the video. It truly helps me out tremendously. Before you go, if you could do me 2 small favors, if you could please like this video and subscribe to my channel. It helps me out tremendously. And as always, I will see you guys later.